There's one thing that, by way of stories, I think has really captured people's imagination and becomes a bit of a litmus test of what the hell is going on. And that's Epstein. So this is somebody I'm very curious to get your take as a former spy. Eric Weinstein, he never comes out and says the exact words, but he's basically saying that the literal words he uses are, this guy is a construct of someone else. Someone else created this guy that we call Jeffrey Epstein. And so my question becomes, then the internet runs with that. I don't know what Eric thinks beyond that exact statement, but the internet certainly runs with, all right, this guy's a CIA operative designed to get intelligence on people like Bill Clinton, which is why you have a painting of Bill Clinton wearing a dress in the man's foyer, which is weird. And I'll admit, I try not to jump to conclusions, but that's a bad look, man. And so is he a real guy? Is he a CIA plant? Like what do you see? What does the data say?
I don't have enough data to say what the data says. What I do have is enough information to pull on assessments that I think have a reasonable probability. CIA does not operate the way most people think that CIA operates. And CIA would never have the legal jurisdiction or the incentive to spy on an American president.
But do they have the legal jurisdiction to sell drugs? Which they do. We know that.
Do you know who the ultimate power is over CIA? Which branch of government? The executive branch. So
if he says it's cool to sell drugs, then it's cool
we
to
sell drugs.
Yo.
Dude, we do things that are classified for a reason.
Wow.
And we do it all in the best interest of protecting Americans. And I mean, I am the kind of person that's practical to a fault.
Right.
So if you tell me that I can either sell cocaine to impoverished Latin American countries or watch 100 Americans die, I'm a cocaine dealer.
Wow.
I'm just the way I work, dude. Just like
you are honest. I appreciate that.
The lives here are more valuable to me than the lives here. That's just, I know that makes me sound however that makes me sound, but that's just the way that's the way I'm wired. That's my analytical overlay.
Yeah.
So I have zero reason to believe and zero evidence to believe, zero experience to believe that Epstein is not a real person or was some kind of CIA manufactured plant or was a CIA asset or a CIA resource. Zero reason to believe any of those things.
What about foreign?
However,
here we go.
However, I have lots of reasons and lots of experience to make me believe that he was a intelligence resource for someone else. He may have been a resource for FBI because that's a whole different authority that's granted on investigating criminal activity inside the United States. And they work with shady people, they work with criminals, they work with sources of all kinds. So he may have had a relationship with FBI. I can't speak to that, but definitely not CIA. However, if I was an intelligence officer in any of the leading intelligence services, the French, the Israelis, the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, if I was an intelligence source for Germany, if I was an intelligence officer in any country that was interested in what's happening in the United States, I would 100% have devoted time and energy into tracking and trying to recruit Epstein into my asset of reporting sources because he had access, such privileged access. And he was so malleable in terms of what he needed and what he wanted so that he could be controlled. Those two things are exactly what you're looking for in the dream boat asset. You want someone who can be controlled by simple levers and someone who has incredible access. Those two things together make a dream boat case. And I mean, even for an unsophisticated service, right? Like your unsophisticated services being Ecuador or Panama or, Romania. Those are basic services, basic intelligence services. Your really refined, really talented services like Cuba, like MSS in China, like the SVR in Russia, those services could absolutely make someone like that sing and keep him well-fed and well-versed in the things that he needed and get incredible access back from him. And then when the natural course of American judicial process takes place, they can distance themselves from him as much as they need to. right? Because he's definitely not going to come out and be like, actually, guys, don't convict me because I'm reporting to the Russians. No, he's never going to say it. So it's all the hallmarks of a very good intelligence case carried out by a foreign country. Doesn't mean it is. It just has all those hallmarks. But a misinformed American public who is irrationally focused on CIA conspiracies, they see something that does look and feel like an intelligence operation, but they attribute it to CIA because of their analytical overlay from movies and TV, instead of attributing it to a truly adversarial service that could execute an operation like that.
What are the hallmarks that you see that really make you go, can't guarantee it, but damn?
The access. The fact that he was so close to so many people on both sides of the political debate, right? Conservatives and liberals. And he participated in extremely compromising behaviors with both sides. That doesn't happen unless either you are so disconnected from the American experience that you really do see everybody as just a tool, or you've been directed to build those relationships and incentivized to build those relationships and rewarded for building those relationships, because it takes a lot of effort. It takes effort to find common ground between very far-leaning people. And then it takes effort to build your life around being available to them when they're available, and then orchestrating these compromising activities. That takes so much time and effort. It's just not something that normal people participate in. Even the very wealthy come to a point where they're like, I could spend an hour with this guy, or I could spend an hour doing this other thing that's even more productive. And they will rationalize their way away against socializing and into business or something other more productive venture, right? So the access is the biggest thing. And then the second biggest thing is the incredible amount of compromising behavior that he participated in. Like even your kinkiest, craziest people who don't follow any kind of moral or ethical compass, right? Even those folks have a hard time functioning at that level and also participating in that much compromising activity. That's documented, right? Like oftentimes to get to a place where you're that morally and ethically flexible, you're not functional in other ways. He was somehow both. So he could have just been a very unique human being. I'm not going to say he wasn't, but probability-wise, he was probably helped or directed in that way, not necessarily magically gifted, but there's still a chance.
Now, it's interesting. That's one of the things Eric speaks to, is that so Eric was heavily involved in finance and trading, and he met him and he was like, there's no way that guy knew the first thing about trading. He was like, there's no way. Like, you talk to him for 30 seconds and you're like, what is happening? How, this guy doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. Yeah. He's like, he basically word salads his way through stuff. He likens him to, if you've ever seen that meme with Steve Buscemi, who walks in, hello, fellow kids. And he's, 46 years old with a skateboard over his back. He said it was like that with trading, which I found hilarious.
So that what you're explaining to me now makes a third hallmark, because a third hallmark of an intelligence asset that's aided in their intelligence success is that they don't know what they're talking about. They end up in positions where they thrive and survive just off of their con game, their confidence. So eventually people just rationalize that this person doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, but I don't really care because they're a good time. So let's have a good time and let's not have any meaningful conversation. Perfect opportunity, because guess what that intelligence asset has to do? All they have to do is listen to the intelligent conversations between two people and provide that intelligence to someone else, or get them to participate in compromising behavior that they can use for either blackmail or some sort of documentation for the potential future, or, grab a phone or grab a laptop, or, let somebody into the party who's a trained intelligence operative to meet the other cases. Like, there's so many ways an intelligence officer can use an access agent and or a foreign reporting agent who has the kind of access and control levers that Epstein had.
If you like that clip, check out the full powerful episode here, and I'll see you there.